Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. If you need any help with anything, check out finding-value.com. We just went through a trading session that is posted on the website. It's probably compiling on YouTube. It takes a couple hours to compile with something that large. So it should be up in a few hours and compiled, hopefully. And let's dive in today. Let's see what's going on. I'll give you my financial opinions as we go. So we've got the DXY here. And again, it is holding steady, basically just moving sideways, along with yields moving sideways. We do have some bullish candlesticks. We've got one here, which is a bullish engulfing, that green guy there. And we've got a couple big, I'll say, bounce days off support coming on up into this dead kind of a slowdown period where the buyers equal to sellers for the dollar. The dollar, I think, is confused on where it wants to go. And same with yields. Now, looking at yields, maybe we can get a little bit more information here. Again, we've just been moving sideways the past 1, 2, 3, 4 trading days. Still looks okay for me if this wants to make a mad dash to the upside. The way I see this is you see these large buying pressure days into kind of like a flag pattern. Maybe we resume upwards from this flag pattern. And then the 10-year and 30-year both broken downtrend lines, where yields, I think, could float higher. So that looks good to go higher. Same with the 30-year yield. Looks like this could float higher with time. And the 2 years, the one that kind of mixed here, because if you back out, we've got good selling pressure coming on down. And it's kind of like, are we going to roll over here and head lower, or are we going to hang out here for a while and move on sideways to try to figure out what the Fed wants to do with interest rates? So that's the current setup. TYX TNX ratio, it's really low. And a lot of the times when this starts to come on up, it's generally a tailwind behind gold, silver. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to occur immediately, but we've got a nice little move today that gapped up but came back down throughout the day. So momentum is to the downside. So it's not a huge movement in this ratio, and neither do we have a huge movement in the dollar or in yields. So we're basically sideways today across the board in yields, dollar, and ratio movements. Bond prices down a little bit today, meaning yields were up just a little bit. And gold down a little bit today. And this here is more or less just the invert of yields. Yields are breaking to the upside, gold's breaking to the downside. So everything seems hyper leveraged to yields at this exact moment. Silver down a teeny bit, but it's basically flat. And we're underneath that resistance line still. And above support still. We've got platinum down a little bit, down 1.5%. So this is tracking lower. Hopefully it can get down here. I might actually buy some more if it does. And then we've got palladium that's up $26 an ounce, 2.7% out of nowhere. And that looks like it's trying to put in a bottom here to go higher for palladium. And let me just extend this bad boy out right on that support resistance line there. XAU to gold ratio, we are flat today. So we've got flatness everywhere. And we know how the guys don't like flat days, guys. Come on now. We've got flat yields, flat dollar. We've got flat ratios on the yields. We've got flat gold. And then flat yield, flat ratio here on the gold, silver miners to gold. So we're not really moving much today of anywhere. CRB index down a little bit. Oil was down a teeny bit today. And there we are with this. This does look like it wants to go a little bit lower in the short term, though. It does look a little bit soft. No one likes soft. So it might go a little bit lower. CRB to S&P 500, that does look like it wants to sell off a little bit. Got some stronger selling pressure days over here. Is a slowdown in the market going to come? I don't think so. I mean, we don't see it in the 2-year yield. They're pretty much flat. Those generally dive bomb before a crash or anything. So we're coming back in the CRB to S&P 500, and this kind of looks like just normal market action that's getting a little bit of selling pressure. Maybe all those guys need to go buy some crypto. So GDX, I mean, we're sideways on support. Not much today. Momentum's to the downside. GDXJ, we are sideways 0.3% up. This could be, kind of like a bounce that we could get. But if yields are going up, probably not likely. So we'll see on these. SILJ just moving sideways as well. We're back within the pattern between resistance line or support and resistance. So not much going on there. We've got crude oil down 1.33%, even though yields were up a little bit. It's kind of weird. But this is the downtrend line. We've broken that downtrend line. We've done a reverse, a back test, retest. Generally, that's where you work your way on up. So we'll see if we work our way on up with yields. TTF gas up 1.5%. Monster momentum going to the downside that we need to work off. Nat gas down 4.8%. We've got the volatility going for us, that's for sure. But we're above support, at least the horizontal support. This is the fractal overlaid on it, which generally moves up compared to history and last bull market. XOP, yeah, you know me, hitting it up. Still down today. What the heck, guys? We got the broken trend line. Maybe this is a reverse retest move coming up. We've got a little wick on the bottom. Not much of a bounce towards the end of the day, but it is a trend line break from this morning. We've been getting these strong selling pressure moves every morning. What is up with this? Look, we ended the day here. Strong selling pressure in the morning to here. We ended the day here. Strong selling pressure down in the morning. We ended the day here. Strong selling pressure down and ends here. What is this? Like, who is doing this? It's like the same pattern every single day. We end the day strong, kind of coming up, and then we get gapped down in the morning. What's the dealio? OIH also getting some strong selling pressure. We're back to that support level. We're right there on support, and we'll see if it holds here. I'd like for it to hold. I don't want to see this dive down, but if there's weakness in the market, I mean, maybe we do a little detour lower before heading higher. I am a bull on oil and energy service. I will tell you that, and I'm not selling my shares. Can't have them, guys. You can't have them. Roth Physical Uranium Trust, we got a little bloody nose today. I know that sometimes we can get throw over false breakouts and slingshot lower. That is a possibility. But I mean, I'm gonna yank up the physical uranium price. This thing just keeps going higher, guys. So yeah, that's possible on the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, but the futures pricing on uranium, I mean, momentum, it's all sheets to the wind, baby. We do have a gap here, and we're not talking about the clothing gap. We are talking about a air gap. An air gap is what occurs when you get no trading, really. It's like this gigantic move lower or higher. We start breaking above the $9,900 level, we could gap up to 130 pretty quick. So, keep that in mind. URA, the equities, we're up 1.12%. Not a really strong day with momentum as the momentum came back down throughout the day. Same with Uranium. But Uranium's up against some pretty stiff resistance. We're basically making all-time highs here at any second. We have closed up here, which I don't think we've closed this high, or maybe we have on the daily here. Closed at 50.77, and we're right at 50.80. So we're real close to an all-time high. I think this is an all-time high closing, so it's looking good. We could get a little bit of a pullback to support here before heading on up. So don't get too jittery and too bullish. And then URNJ is also playing with almost all-time highs here for URNJ. So hopefully this momentum can continue. Hopefully we can continue to rip higher. That's what I'll say there. The physical pricing, futures pricing looks absolutely insanely good. Tan up a little bit. Looks like it's trying to turn on support. It does have a bullish engulfing candlestick. It looks pretty good still. I mean, we've got bullish engulfings through here. We've come on up. We got a little bit of selling pressure back to do that return move, and we'll see if we can turn this baby around. TOPX up 0.36%. Looks like the gap is still not filled for all you gap fillers out there, but it's okay. There's not tons of selling pressure through that circle, what I've encapsulated there. Lithium down a little bit. To me, this looks like we're right at support, right on support zone. REMX taking a little bit more selling pressure here, but we're basically right on support of these couple of candlesticks here. We'll see if it holds. If it doesn't hold, we might see a move on lower here if we bust on through it. S&P 500 continues on up into resistance land. It is right in that resistance area. We'll see if we can punch through. NASDAQ also moving on higher. Pretty strong day today. And we're not at all-time highs yet, but it looks okay is what I'll say. It's not ideal, but it looks okay. The regional banking ETF looks good. That looks good to continue higher. It looks like a flag pattern of some sort that we could break in the future. Maybe I can put some better, more legit candlestick here. There we go. There we go. That's more straight. Emerging markets back to support. We did have a little bit stronger yields. I think we had, was it slightly weaker dollar? We're right at support. XHB up 1%. This thing is just persistent as all get out. Looks like it wants to go higher. Looks quite strong, almost at all-time highs. Moo coming back 0.5%. Not much selling pressure. I still think we're going to go higher. We just got to break out of this resistance line I drew in here. Copper up 0.76%. We've broken out of the long-term downtrend line here. And it looks like we might want to do a return move of some sort. Maybe we come back here, 364, 360-ish, something like that. Iron ore coming on up today, but we had some strong selling pressure before it. Looks like we're going into consolidation mode for just a little bit for iron ore, but still looks good to go up in the longer term. Aluminum down slightly. We're within the pattern now. Just hanging out, waiting for the right market conditions. I think this will go higher because we've got nice kind of squeeze here. Then we're slowly just kind of leaking off sellers. Whoever doesn't want to be in aluminum is getting out of aluminum, apparently. Baltic Dry Index, a little bit sharper selling pressure move back to this support level. Looks like that's the magnet line of the century. Going all the way back to 1988, that's our support resistance line. That is like a magnet that just busts us and brings us back. Newcastle coal down 2%. I still like where it's at. It's basing out on top of a gigantic base. We've got BTC up 0.7%. Still looks good to go higher. No reversal candlestick there. And then we've got Ethereum up 7.7%. That's breaking out of that flag pattern on top of a flag pattern on top of a flag pattern. So it's breaking out today. That looks good to go higher. So that looks good. Flag on top of a flag on top of a flag and a breakout. So that's what I've got for today, guys. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel if you would like, or the website too. But overall, I'm surprised by some of the weakness in energy service and I would say the oil gas exploration companies. Oil doesn't look that weak, but the equities are still selling off. So apparently, someone really wants to get out of equities, the oil equities, and not hold on to them. Apparently, but yeah, most everything else looks pretty good still. The same trends are still going. And the only thing that really has changed trend wise the past week or two has been interest rates. We broke that downtrend line, it's been going up. That's generally good for oil. Oil and rates generally trend together. Gold and rates trend together too in the opposite direction. And so far, everything is still above support. Everything is still above resistance levels and all that. Everything's still intact. So we wait. We wait longer. But that's what I've got for today. Catch you later. This is Finding Value.